Hello, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to take a look at the comic books I picked up for New Comic Book Day this week, which I think is March 12th. And it was a big week. I talked about how the past 2 weeks were fairly light weeks. I've got a big old stack of comic books here. This is, I think, the biggest week I've had in probably since I started buying comics again. Part of it is I went a little variant crazy, so we'll talk about that towards the end, but we're just going to jump into it because we do have a lot of comics to talk about. And we're going to start off with Transformers. Issue 18 came out, just released a video which is the full breakdown of this issue, which is full spoilers and all of that. But the quick summary of this is the end of the third arc, and they really stuck the landing. I thought this was a really great way to end this arc and then set up the fourth and final arc of Danny Warren Johnson's 2-year tenure on the title. So yeah, this is I still think overall I think I like the second volume better than the third volume, but there were a lot of great big moments in this volume and this issue in particular. So yeah, overall the series continues to be like the best thing that I'm reading, the most thing that I'm most engaged with, interested in, and as soon as I finish reading an issue, I'm thinking about the next issue, and that doesn't even with other comics that I'm enjoying, that doesn't always hold true with some of the other titles. I'm enjoying it, but I don't I don't obsess about what is next or what this all means. So yeah, Transformers, fantastic, cannot recommend it enough. All right, so next up we'll jump into The Moon is Following Us, number 7. And again, this is one that when I talk about it each month, I try not to talk about it too much because this is going to be a story that I'm going to recommend people read, but it's going to be once everything is wrapped up and done. I think it's going to be a really, really fantastic read. So this is now the kind of the back half of the series. I think it's a 10-issue series, and we're at issue 7 now. And it's Penny's parents still trying to rescue her from the dream world. There was a big kind of change in plans, big some events that happened at the end of the first end of issue 6, and or I guess that was issue 5, end of issue 5, and then her parents are learning a new approach at trying to rescue her, and seeing them learn more about their daughter, more about this dream world and what makes it work, what makes it operate. It's been really fantastic and very emotional, very heartfelt, and yeah, it's Danny Warren Johnson at some of his best. He clearly has things to say about parenthood, things to say about his love for his children. And, I've talked about it before. That kind of stuff really speaks to me as a father, and I'm really, really, really enjoying it. So, yeah. Next up, we will jump into, how about Absolute Superman number 5? Now, this is... I really enjoyed this issue. Don't let my kind of hesitance mean anything other than I really did enjoy this issue. But this is you kind of see the final fate of Krypton in this issue, which is really good stuff, really compelling stuff. However, this has also been the most interested that I've been. The most interesting aspect of the story that I've been invested in was the stuff on Krypton. So now that Krypton is destroyed, we'll see. We'll see where this goes from here. But up until this point, I can recommend this series. I have enjoyed all the stuff on Krypton. For the Krypton stuff alone, I would recommend reading it. So maybe when I think this is the end of the first arc. I think it's a 5-issue. I think it said end of. Yeah, I think this was the end of the first. The first arc. But anyway, so I would recommend reading it when it comes out on trade or if it's on digital. It's good. It's a good approach to Superman. Now, is it going to have my long-lasting interest? I can't guarantee that. But, we'll see. All right. Next up, we'll stick with DC and we'll do this one. Batman Dark Patterns number 4. And again, this is one that I absolutely will recommend. So Dark Patterns it's a 12-issue mini maxi series, and each broken into 4 cases of 4 cases that Batman is investigating. And the first 3 issues was the first case, and this issue starts off the second case. And It's a great series. It's the kind of stuff that I want from Batman. It is a younger Batman, an inexperienced Batman, but still, a fully capable Batman, just not as overpowered as Batman has become. So yeah, I don't want to say too much. I like the setup. I definitely like the setup. What's that? What's the movie? The Raid, where they have to go in and fight his way up all the floors of the building. Also, that's wasn't the plot of the one Judge Dredd movie, which was surprisingly good. Yeah, so Batman has to go into this building that there's a hostage situation, and he doesn't know where the hostage is, and any room could be, anyone waiting to attack him. So. I like this setup. It's a good premise. I'm on board. So the second case starts off strong. It's a different type of case. I like that it's varied from the first arc, which is that first three, the serial killer. Yeah, it's good. I recommend it. Here's one that I enjoy, but I don't know that I could recommend it. It's Spawn issue 362, and I've talked about it, why I enjoy this series. It's the Brett Booth and Adelso Corona art, and this is the kind of, I'm gonna say, it's the kind of big dumb fun that I really want from a Spawn comic book, and I say that with love. Out of I don't want to offend anybody who's like really into the mythos of Spawn and everything, but out of this series, what I want is kind of blockbuster popcorn fun, and that's what you get. It's beautiful art. You get some great characters in here. I love that there's, as a fan of Spawn in the '90s, it was all about kind of like the toys and the variant versions of Spawn. In here, you get multiple of those. You get Plague Spawn. There, Mandarin Spawn shows up, and Mandarin Spawn was a design that I always enjoyed in the '90s. So, but yeah, a lot of cool characters, a lot of fighting. There is a story happening. There is plot moving forward, but it's always, I don't know. I want to be disrespectful, but it's not like it's like really in-depth plot. It's just plot to serve the action, and that's fine. Like I said, out of a $2.99 comic book that has beautiful Brett Booth and Adelso Corona art, that's kind of all I want, and that's okay, because there's so many other comics that I'm reading that are offering the kind of emotional impact and those kind of payoffs that I enjoy from comics. It's good to have a comic that is just kind of like, a quick, big, dumb, fun read. And that is what Spawn is currently. So, all right. The opposite of big, dumb fun. How about Void Rivals, number 17? So this is the other corner, kind of the space corner of the Energon universe. And there's a lot that happens in this issue, and it's kind of the things that you're really starting to, the payoff and the explanation to what the connections would be between the characters in Void Rivals, Cybertron, the history of these two warring people that are populating this planet, and yeah, there's a lot of big moments that are explained here, and it's a pretty key issue for the series. And you can kind of see, between this and Transformers, and you kind of see the plot threads kind of coming together a little more, kind of planting the seeds for the big crossover in the Energon universe. Whenever that is coming, we don't know, but you can see it's all kind of happening. I think it's going to happen slower than it seems, because there's a lot of things that are happening right now. You think, oh, okay, here it comes. But I think it's still going to happen, kind of play out a little slower. But it's interesting stuff. And I think it's I've talked about it before, for the Energon universe, there's 3 titles: G.I. Joe, Transformers, and Void Rivals. I think it's a fair buy-in to read all 3 of those, and you get a really fun story, and that are different types of stories. But they are all connected, and eventually there will be a connected payoff. So yeah, very much, I'd recommend it, but only if you're like really into the Energon universe stuff. If you're reading Transformers and you're enjoying it, and you're reading G.I. Joe and you're enjoying it, I would recommend picking it up, or at least pick up the trades and read those, because it's a fun story, and there's some Transformers characters in this series in Void Rivals. So yeah, definitely worth your time to read that one for sure. All right, so let's do this one. It's the only issue 1 from this week that I picked up. It's called Assorted Crisis Events from Image Comics. And you talk about, can I recommend this book? I don't know. This is the premise is, it's kind of like, what would happen if time was breaking down, and people and characters from all different eras just are kind of populating, that just kind of randomly show up, kind of like time pockets open up, and then you can see some like cavemen that just randomly are on the city street there, or it's this whole idea that time is breaking down, and there are time displaced characters that just kind of pop in and out of there, and what would happen in that scenario. What would happen if you just still had to carry on your mundane day-to-day life? I gotta go to work, and how does that, how do you operate in that type of scenario? And that's kind of what this is. And I think so. The idea that I read is that it's going to be somewhat like an anthology, a book where it's this issue kind of focuses on this woman, and she's just trying to fix her clock, and I don't know if her character is going to continue through the series, but it sounds like it's from what I've read, it's going to be about different people that are just navigating this world. And I think this issue, the first issue, it's kind of a trippy read, but I think the main purpose of what it's doing is just setting up this kind of crazy, unpredictable environment, and in doing that, I think it does that successfully. So would I recommend it? I don't know. I can't really recommend it. I enjoyed it. But if you don't like time travel stuff, you're going to get lost, because I was lost. It's like a 48-page comic, so there's a lot of comic here for, what was it, $5? Yeah. I enjoyed it, but I also don't really know fully what I'm reading yet. So I can't recommend it yet. I enjoyed it, but yeah. All right. So the last new issue that I picked up for this week was Redcoat number 10. And this series continues to be just a lot of fun. Really, really enjoy it. I can recommend it to anybody. The idea in this one is it's set in let's see, was it 1890? I think it's 1890, and he encounters Annie Oakley, and it's just a fun story of him kind of becoming smitten by Annie Oakley. They have a dueling contest where they shoot different targets and try to test their sharpshooter abilities, and they're trying to one up each other, and it's just the kind of fun back and forth. And he's trying to impress her. She's like, "Oh, you got a really impressive shot," and he's like, "Well, I've had 100 years to," not that he told her that, but he's got 100 years to perfect his firing. Never really started out as a good shot, but since he's lived for so long, he's gotten better at just kind of things just by doing it over and over again. So it's kind of fun to see that just by living this long, he's gaining different types of abilities. They have their kind of sparring back and forth. They make a bet to try to one up each other, and then there's some kind of ruffians that they have to deal with, and it's just a fun Western adventure. And that's what I've talked about this series. Each issue is kind of a self-contained story, and I love it. It's a great series. Now I think there is maybe a longer kind of story that's coming up. They're introducing the character of the Northerner, and he kind of shows up towards the end of this issue, and they advertise it that there's going to be, I think, a 3-issue story with the Northerner, and I don't know if that is going to start with a crossover with I forget what the Great War. I forget what the war is that's supposed to kind of unite all of the Ghost title or the Ghost Machine titles. But like I said, I'm still not up to date with Rook Exodus or Geiger. I think some of that connective stuff is coming, but for now, Redcoat, fantastic. Would absolutely recommend it. Now, the last couple comics that I'm going to show are the variant covers that I picked up. And I have 5 different variant covers that I picked up this week. And some of them are not surprising. It's just, let's see. So, like, I picked up the cover B, the Jorge Corona cover B for Transformers 18. I picked up the cover B, the Daniel Warren Johnson, The Moon is Following Us, number 7. I picked up a variant for Absolute Superman number 5, which is the Sean Gordon Murphy variant, which is pretty cool. And then I picked up 2 more Transformers variants. I love these Jason Howard second print variants. I don't buy them all, but some of them I just I see them on pre-order, and I was like, oh, that's a sweet one. And I get ones that are kind of a little more this series specific. So it's not just like a pinup of a character, but it's things that have to do with the series itself. And like for instance, here's Transformers issue 14, second printing of Starscream as when he's attached to the Hiss tank, which I think is that's pretty great. And then I love this one, issue 12, second printing, Carly and Shredhead, Carly in her van. And, you know, when this was, I've talked about it before, and how I said, oh, like Carly's van feels like a separate character in this series. And that's a no-brainer. I think some of my favorites that they've done so far are now this Carly's van and Carly, and the dead Bumblebee. Those are probably my two favorite Jason Howard variant covers that they've done so far, just because they are so story specific. And yeah, those are the ones that I really kind of like. And again, these are they'll look good in the spinner rack back there. It's just a fun thing to have on display. So all right, yeah, that was a big week. I spent more than I anticipated this week, because I forgot that it was, they all the titles were hitting at once, and then I forgot that I had pre-ordered some of these variant covers. So you pulled up the stack, and I was like, whoa, okay, that's a big week. So anyways, I guess the past 2 weeks they said were light, so I guess I was due. But all right, anyway, thank you very much for watching this one, and I will see you soon.